You are listening to Wicked Psychotherapists, a podcast where two psychotherapists show you that taking care of and learning about mental health doesn't have to be wicked hat.
Hey everyone, it's Tanya.
Hey, it's Erin, and welcome to Wicked Psychotherapists.
Today, we are traveling towards the Thanksgiving holiday, talking about Thanksgiving, traditions, the food, all of it. I think that would be fun to dive into, just have a lighter episode. Sometimes we have topics that are mental health heavy. Holidays can be mental health heavy, but we're just talking about traditions, things we remember, which actually may not be so light.
Most people have family issues or jokes about Thanksgiving traumas because of holidays. Psychology counseling might come into play.
That's what we thought we would talk about. We're just going to talk about our own stuff, food and holiday traditions, things you may have done and things we do now. Some things may be really great, some things that make you really tough, some things that you miss about this holiday. Or maybe you don't celebrate it, but if you're listening, maybe you're curious. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. I don't know if Erin, if you want to kind of talk about some of the things you remember growing up, traditions or foods. What was Thanksgiving like in your household?
Okay. Growing up, we're from New England. So I grew up in Rhode Island, actually. Tanya and I were talking when we were like, let's do an episode, because we usually talk and plan our episodes out ahead of time. And the other week we were saying, let's do an episode about Thanksgiving. So we think of some of those food that we used to have. I don't know if it's just a Rhode Island thing or New England, but brown bread in a can, you plop it out. Heat it up with butter and stuff like that. You still have the ripples from the can on the bread, because it's the bread that can last 12 years. That was always a staple. It's a weird thing, because so those who might not know what I'm talking about.
If you're not from New England, especially, you probably won't know.
Almost looks like bran bread. How do you say that?
Bran bread, I think. Yeah.
Bran
bread.
Bran beans. Yeah, bran muffin. Like a bran bread. So it looks like bran bread. With raisins literally in a can. For some reason, it's really tasty. My mom was Italian, so we always had something Italian, like usually lasagna or baked ziti or whatever she wanted to make. Something mostly Italian. It would seem like the turkey and mashed potatoes we'd have, but then it'd be 12-course meal of all the Italian stuff. I always thought that's what people did. I didn't realize that Thanksgiving is usually just turkey, mashed potatoes and stuff. I've been a vegetarian since I was 14, so I stopped doing the turkey and stuff. But I'd always eat the vegetables, my mom's lasagna and everything else. My mom would have the turkey, but everything else would be the Italian stuff. And she would always insist on having rolls, but they'd always be burnt. My mom did not know how to bake. She couldn't even do the Pillsbury Doughboy thing.
Oh, I used to love those.
Put the little rolls, and then you just put them on for you only put them on for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you get them out. For some reason, my mom, it was like time just stopped for her or something. 2 hours good enough for the rolls?
My gosh, it
would feel smoky and rocks. And so eventually, I think my sister is like, I'll do the rolls, Mom, because it would be disgusting. I was like, rolls must be so hard to make. I realized it's not really that hard. It's just my mom.
It's just the timing.
Yeah. I think when you drink a lot of wine, when you're cooking, it's hard to judge time.
Time flies by
when you're drinking and making Thanksgiving. Here's just a weird assortment, and of course, can-shaped cranberry sauce and can-shaped bread.
Was it the jelly that takes on ripples or the actual berries?
No, the one that was canned and then you slice it.
So like me too. Yeah, that's the only cranberry sauce I ever knew. I didn't really set in any other way.
Now I make it from scratch. It tastes so much better than the jelly kind, but all we'd ever have is the jelly cranberry sauce.
I've had the fresh made one. I still really like it.
Yeah, there's something to it. It probably is comforting. Yeah, I guess. It's just kind of can you give me a forkful of cranberry? Because you could just stab it with a fork and place it on your
jelly.
Yeah. So just stab it and flop it on your plate. My dad's like, you need cranberry sauce. It helps you digest.
Oh, all the things we made up and
right. Thanks for my big meal, and I'll have this little
cranberry's gonna just help move it along. Did you all have any decor or anything, like special tablecloth, or was it just kind of?
My mom liked to have a lot of stuff out. We had a front room full of dolls, teddy bears, and different things. For Thanksgiving, we might have had a couple of pumpkins out. I don't really remember. She went all out for Christmas. So Thanksgiving, I think we had a turkey plate, like the plate that they serve stuff on had a picture of a turkey on it. We must have used paper plates because we had a lot of people. My mom's brother and her two sisters come over from New York. They would usually stay with us. We had a dishwasher, but we never used it. It was the kind you had to plug into the sink.
Paper plates it is. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah.
So that's
Makes
what
it-
it was.
makes it-
We were really fancy.
For some people, it's a part, and some people it's not. It's more of a practical matter, right? You know?
Yeah.
Did you help to cook, or were you just like, no, it's not my thing?
Really my thing. Because I would help with the salad sometimes, like at home, where I try to help my mom with the lasagna because I liked helping her get the noodles and, get them out of the strainer and then lay them out, help with the layering. So I guess I would help with that. My sister would really help with the other stuff. My mom would start a day or so ahead of time. I was like, Thanksgiving must be so hard. I don't know why people do it. It takes all the stress, but it's really not as hard as people make it seem. We've hosted as an adult a lot, and it's hard, but you have to understand not being drunk while doing it makes it easier too. So I think usually, I'd probably just go out with my friends beforehand or something, or maybe it was after, or I don't know. I think I'd just try to stay out of my mom's way. And then we eat. I'd go back and hide in my room. I'd then have dessert, go back and hide in my room. And then we'd play. They really like, this is going to date me too. They really like Yahtzee and Boggle. I don't love Yahtzee. Yeah. My dad ended up buying me Yahtzee recently. So I'm like, oh, good. Teach the kids how to gamble early. So you got to learn how to play poker. So we've been playing. So we've been doing
Here's a good thing to
Yahtzee.
learn.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, that would always be the family thing we would do after. But then, of course, football and all that stuff would always be on in the background.
That sounds pretty interesting. It's different because there's some New England tie-ins, right? With also your mother's Italian side and your own family traditions, right? Everybody has some variation in that. Some listening may not have any traditions, or maybe I spent it at their friend's house. My mom, I don't remember exactly, but I know that she would incorporate some French Canadian stuff from her mother, like meat and stuffing, which I'm not a big fan of. Her cooking was really good. She did all the cooking. It did seem like it was so hard. It just wasn't really an event I don't think any of us as her kids that I don't know if it was like she felt we were reluctant, but we just weren't a part of the cooking. Seemed really overwhelmed with it. But I do remember I loved that. I looked forward to it because it was good. Turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing. We didn't have traditions. It was just us, my sisters, and my mom. I don't think my dad celebrated it. He'd be present when I was really young. They got separated when I was young. I don't think he wasn't into holidays really ever. But I looked forward to it because I liked the Macy's Day Parade on TV. I think I was the only one that kind of did. But we didn't have any family activities. It wasn't a day together, but I just liked it because we wouldn't eat together. We'd kind of just go to the TV and eat. I think sometimes we maybe did the dining room table, like maybe a couple of years or something, but we didn't have any decor. It was just like, okay, this is what we do. It was nice to have a suspended day of no, school and I don't know. I think for my mom, it felt stressful because she was cooking for us to eat. It always felt kind of nice, something to look forward to, but looking back, it was kind of lonely for all of us. We didn't really have any traditions. We didn't play any games. We would watch football when my mom's boyfriend was in the picture, but he would just be him watching it. I don't know. Wasn't it disconnected?
The holiday you looked forward to?
I did because there was no school and I liked the food. At that point in my life, I didn't even know what being a connected family was. It's not like I missed that. It just wasn't there. Looking back, I feel sad and wonder why we didn't really have any aunts or uncles come over. We didn't spend it with them. And I don't know if it was just kind of different factors. I don't think there was anything going on, but it was just, I don't know. I like the food. It was good.
Yeah.
Cooked it well, but we didn't have any real, it was just like the standard kind of, and we definitely had the cranberry sauce, that came in a can. That I loved. I still bring it to my husband's family's traditions, which are
really
different. I think I'm the only one that eats it. Sometimes I'll cut it. Sometimes someone else cuts it, but I always have that and gravy, which is not a part of the tradition.
I thought everyone had like a gravy boat of some either mushroom or chicken or whatever gravy.
My husband's family is Portuguese, and because it is an American holiday, they've had American people come to their traditions, but it's a lot of family. It's a lot of togetherness, the opposite experience, not judging, just saying it's different. Yeah. My mom put a lot into Thanksgiving that we did have. I appreciate that. I can see that. But it really is more family togetherness. There's wine, seafood, there's turkey. There's a lot of different types of meat. I always make mashed potatoes. We usually host it at our house, but my husband's mom and aunts and the uncles bring a lot. His cousins make fantastic desserts. It's hard to choose if you're just going to have one. Really good food. It's really different for me. Thanksgiving is very different. I definitely look forward to it. They're very welcoming.
I look forward to it a lot. Now it's opposite of you. It's like us and my dad. So it's a lot smaller. Growing up, it was my whole family, siblings, parents, my mom's siblings, and, then when my aunt had a kid. So that was a lot, but it was also very stressful for me. Growing up was chaotic, and some family members didn't get along when they all were together. There was tension or actual fight. Like some of my mom's siblings didn't all, it didn't seem like they always got along, or some didn't get along with my siblings, or my siblings didn't get along with each other, or my parents didn't. There was always some sort of tension or actual fight or alcohol involved. I wasn't of age. They didn't know I drank. It wasn't like I was partaking. So I would usually just be like, I'm just going to go in my room. I didn't feel very connected. I didn't feel very thankful. I did like the food, but I thought Thanksgiving sucked because of that until recently. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Thanksgiving can be whatever you want it to be. It's to be thankful.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be super stressful, and it doesn't have to be a show. You don't have to be up for 2 nights cleaning, cooking, burning your stuff. My mom would always end up in center care too, because she would always cut her finger or burn herself. It was always a joke. Wednesday before Thanksgiving, is mom going to the center care or the clinic? What injury is she getting this year? That's a crazy tradition.
The hospital tradition.
I did like seeing my family, but I think it was also because they would stay for like days and days and days. It was like, oh my gosh, is Thanksgiving ever ending?
It's going on and on.
It was a lot for me. I know everyone else probably liked it, but for me, I was like, okay, I'm done.
Too overwhelming. Yeah, a lot of people there, and you have to kind of manage, like, where do I sit in here and what's gonna happen?
My personality was always a little different too. Felt like I didn't fit in with a lot of them.
And that can be kind of tough, but now it's like, okay, I'm actually the one who can make the rules about Thanksgiving. We can all do what we need to do, and it can be less stress.
We can be outside. We do it outside on our patio in Florida. It's nice and cool, screened in. We play yard games, break out the Yahtzee. Different. Like we want it to look. My dad comes. It's smaller, less chaotic for me.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely does. That makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Now I look forward to it. Like, I'd have to clean up and do a lot of prep work, but I actually like it. I get excited about it. Not every aspect of it. Cleaning up is not the funnest, but I feel like this is what I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Family that gets together and they play some games afterwards. They bring some dominoes kind of game called Train Dominoes or something.
Mexican Train. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. There's kind of that. And then there's a lot of wine, great wine, and talking. Some of it I don't fully understand, but I'm okay with that. Some of it I do. And, my husband's family is great. It really is nice now. I'm very excited for the holidays. I'm always excited. I'm not comparing to when I was younger. I loved my mom's cooking, but there's something about having family around when you feel accepted and connected in a way that it just wasn't growing up because of circumstances. I do love now, speaking of favorites and stuff like that, I love the wines. There's homemade wines. There's wines that people bring in. I love the desserts his family makes. Honestly, I can't choose. There's so many dishes that I just, growing up, I loved mashed potatoes and stuffing. I still love that, but there's like kind of some different things that I look forward to. What about you? Did you have a favorite? Has it changed?
It's funny you mentioned the stuffing. My mom used to always make it. She would put apples, pecans, or walnuts, or sausage, not ham, but like meat, stuffing, onions, celery, so much stuff. My sister, my uncle, everyone loved it. I was like, can you just make me a plain one? So she would always make a side dish of plain, maybe some apples. Yeah, but my husband is actually the cook for Thanksgiving, and he does an excellent job. And like everything he does, I think he does this carrot thing with maple syrup or something in it when he cooks it and caramelizes it. It's really good, like little sliced carrots.
Sounds good.
And I think that's one of my favorite things. My daughter has to make ambrosia every year. I like the cherries in ambrosia and I go with Cool Whip. I haven't really acquired the taste for ambrosia myself.
I haven't had much experience with it.
I like different things. I don't know. I think it's just, again, being able to decide what we serve is nice. I still incorporate the Italian thing. I'll make baked ziti, lasagna, spinach balls. I might do something my mom would have made just to kind of bring her into the meal, a little bit of the Italian-ness. An ode to my mom sometimes, without going
that's
to
nice.
without going to the walk-in clinic the night before.
I think that's why I keep the cranberry jelly. I like it, but it reminds me of Thanksgiving. We never did the brown bread with the canned cranberry sauce. And my mom's stuffing was usually stovetop stuffing, which I loved. I just thought
there's
it was
something
so
very.
good.
They've been doing it for years. It's comforting. Thanksgiving's interesting because you feel like you have to be with everybody. More so than Christmas, because sometimes people celebrate Christmas Day at home or have this obligation with church or volunteering or whatever. So it doesn't always feel like there's such the obligation as Thanksgiving probably felt for people growing up or even now as adults. Like that we're able to create new traditions, surround ourselves with people that make us feel safe.
And just people that like to gather together. I mean, of course, with my husband's family, they kind of sound like they're arguing, but they're really discussing stuff in Portuguese.
Italian moms, so I understand.
It sounds
argumentative,
but it's just the way they discuss.
Sometimes my husband laughs. He's like, "Oh my gosh, your family must have always been so loud." Sometimes I'll be talking, and he's like, "You're yelling." I'm not yelling. I'm just like.
So the way they express themselves, I find a lot of comfort. I like it now. I used to be kind of like, are they arguing a lot? I didn't really understand. My husband would be like, "No, this is just the way they talk." It kind of became comfort. It's their pants. I really would get into it. And as the wine flows, the cognacs at the end of the meal, they do dessert and espresso and the cognac. Nice. I love the order of things. Growing up, it was never really fancy. Nice dinnerware, the decor. I like tablecloths. I liked changing things out for the seasons because
that's probably why it's important for you to always have the seasons and have everything represent and decorate, because if you haven't always had that growing up or there wasn't something really shown, okay, this is the holiday we're celebrating or something. So decorating, this is something you can do and this is yours. When you go to families that have it, it probably feels more special.
I used to have a friend growing up and their neighbor would change out these flags in the front of their house for different seasons. I found that so nice. I just love that. I was like, I want this for myself. And I really make it a point with small decorations. I kind of like to have the holiday theme, kind of Thanksgiving and the nice plates and glasses and everything. Growing up, I think that was probably more of a money thing. People didn't really do that, but my family didn't have that. I wanted it to always feel special. I think I never really knew I felt that way, but I definitely knew with my husband. I started to be like, I want this out there. He would be like, all right.
My mom would, now that I'm thinking, I'm like, she'd always do the pumpkins out front on her steps. Something like that. I don't remember too much. Maybe we had a couple pumpkins inside. And she liked gourds, the ones with all the warts, like those little weird looking, I guess they're called gourds, right? Like,
so she feel like they have a lot.
So she would have those. We didn't have a cornucopia, but she would just put them like in the bowl or something like that. And, when you're saying the flags, it was making me remember, I used to always want one of those goose or ducks that people used to have in their front yard. Do you remember those that like people would dress up like in different holidays? They'd wear little outfits. One of my neighbors used to have. I used to think that was so cute. Some days they'd have a rain jacket on. Then they'd be dressed up for Christmas or different things. I don't know what they wore for Thanksgiving, but I just remember the little goose. It was either a goose or a duck, but it was so cute. I always wanted one when I grew up. They probably discontinued them.
But you can find it on Amazon or eBay or something. I'm sure if you did a deep dive search. Yeah, really, I mean, that's really, I mean, my thing is wreaths. I have different wreaths for different seasons. My husband doesn't understand it, but it's something to visually define and feel comfortable. It just,
my mom did that too. My Patrick's Day one, we had Thanksgiving, Christmas, and just all the time. I totally forgot about that until you said that. And that made it feel homey.
I just don't think there were many. And the house I grew up in was not very comforting. So I always wanted that. I wanted a comforting space and I never voiced it. Now that is something I really love putting that there. And it probably does run into my need for having these backgrounds and feeling the comfort of that. I recognize the need for that. And at some point I was like, that's okay.
You're allowed to help your inner child. You're able to give yourself now things that you might not have received or had or didn't even know that you crave.
Yeah. For a long time, I'd be like, why am I wasting money on something temporary? This is not needed. that survivalist mentality of if it's not needed. Then I just at a certain point was like, I know this is feeding something, and I was able to afford it after a while, and I just want. I definitely don't stop there. I get candles. My husband knows there are certain things I need.
And do you have a whole section?
Just give me comfort.
Do you have a whole section in your garage where you store it all?
I do, yeah, in the basement, in bins. I have labeled. It's another thing I always loved. I have this
That's
storage
awesome.
of something. It makes me comforted. We all have our own traditions. Erin keeping some of the Italianness of, the traditions.
Yeah.
The Italian.
Oh my God, that used to, my mom
part,
used to make her go insane when people be like, Italy or Italian.
I definitely knew people that said that. But yeah, you can not have the stress, and it can be a nice way of spending time together.
And it is
the holidays. Growing up, we don't choose that, but we can learn from it.
Whether with therapy or just self-discovery, you can do that and choose who you celebrate with. Or if you choose not to celebrate, that's okay too. I'm going to go for a hike or watch, what is it, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving thing, or do something, or celebrate and leave if it gets too tough, or kick everyone out if you're hosting.
Or have a Friendsgiving. Some people do that, because they want to just bring in different elements of people's backgrounds and foods they like. And
that's always fun.
I do remember a Friendsgiving in college. A professor had a pre-Thanksgiving potluck. We could all bring different stuff. It was cool to see.
Yeah.
I learned about some foods that I
That's really cool.
It was I always remember that. It was nice to go and she gave us some wine. 21 was it was real nice.
Yeah, we won't report her.
She was very much in the European tradition.
Yeah. How awesome, though, because she probably knew a lot of you weren't able to go home for the holidays. How can I celebrate you and tell you I'm grateful I was your professor this semester?
Yeah, really nice conversation and welcome. I mean, in her role, she was a great professor, great person. We'd love to hear some things that you may have traditions with or that you do instead on that day, or maybe you don't recognize that day, but you do something else or have the day off work. It is what it is. Obviously, I don't love the origins of the holiday and what it represents. I really enjoy the togetherness of being around people and having good food.
Just think of it like celebrating the bounty of the crops, celebrating family and togetherness.
Just celebrating the bounty of food and family. And but we'd love to hear from you if you have favorite traditions or things you want to try. Is there anything that you're wanting to incorporate or do you feel good about?
I think I'm liking what we're doing. We always put out the yard games. We have the board games out. I don't put football on because I used to get annoyed that my dad, uncle, and brothers would just sit in the living room and watch football. And I just thought that was really annoying. I know it's a tradition to watch football on Thanksgiving, but I always thought it was rude. It just really aggravated me. I loved the Macy Day Parade and I loved watching that, and I still do. So I guess a tradition of mine is we don't have football on Thanksgiving. We'll put music on instead. I just find it really annoying if people are just watching TV and drinking beer.
Yeah, because this is more about connecting and being there with people.
Not avoiding. And
so it probably feels very distant.
Yeah, it's just a holiday to get drunk. I'm pretty happy with how we have it now. I have the comfort in the little traditions that we have. I mean, they're not huge. It's not fancy, but it is nice. And it is, we have certain things that we keep and add, and it's nice.
I feel the same way. I wish there was more with my family. We all do our own thing and there's not really communication on it. So, and there's just a lot of difficulties there. I don't think it would happen with some people, but something let go of, but it's something that sometimes I think that's probably the only thing. The way it is now, I really like it. I think this would be coming out probably just around the holidays.
3 days before Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving.
We hope you have a great Thanksgiving or day off. Don't forget to leave us a review and follow us on social media. You will find us. Erin is wearing a very nice orange shirt that really fits. Thanks. And I'm wearing some weird velvet 70s. I ordered this from Amazon and it's very Fleetwood Mac-ish. The bottom of it is very
cool.
For some reason, I thought it was great to wear today.
It's probably fun. It probably will be really fun to twirl.
Maybe I will do some twirling to get some strength. Right? It's a fun outfit. We hope you enjoyed this. Leave comments, suggestions for shows. We always look forward to that. We love the fan mail. Keep it coming. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was going to say, in our most recent fan mail, we got a suggestion for Stand By Me.
We are doing that in a couple
Yeah.
weeks. So it's an awesome suggestion. Definitely a good one. We hope you take care. Enjoy this time. If this is not an easy time, hopefully you reach out, get support, or do what you need to do for yourself. Self-care around this time can be tough for a lot of people.
And it is okay to say no to invitations. It is okay to leave if you feel that.
Definitely boundaries. Absolutely. Do what you need to do. And don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you next week. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.